What if one of the absolute weirdest principles in all of quantum physics held the key, not just to understanding the universe, but to a really deep journey of self-discovery? Today, we're going to explore a fascinating philosophical idea that uses a cosmic mystery as a metaphor for finding your destiny and, just maybe, your other half. Okay, let's just dive right in with the author's favorite way of explaining this. This quote, it really gets to the heart of a real scientific puzzle called quantum entanglement. It's a connection that's so instant, so perfect, it kind of breaks our brains when we try to understand it with our everyday sense of space and time. So here's the plan for our journey today. We're going to start with this really mind-bending science concept, and we're going to follow that thread all the way down to a deeply personal spiritual quest. All right, first up, let's get our footing with the core scientific idea that sparked this entire philosophy. We're talking about that unbreakable, instantaneous link between two connected particles. So this is what physicists are talking about. When two particles are entangled, it means what happens to one instantly affects the other. It doesn't matter if they're in the same room or on opposite sides of the galaxy. And the author of our source material looks at this coupling and sees a perfect metaphor for what ancient philosophy calls yuan. Okay, so how do we get from these teeny tiny particles all the way up to us, to people? Well, it all hinges on a principle of duality that you're probably already familiar with. In physics, this is a fundamental rule. For every particle, there's an antiparticle. It's like its perfect opposite twin. And you see this law of duality pretty much everywhere in the universe. And this maps perfectly onto a core concept in Taiji philosophy. You have yin and yang. And they're not enemies fighting each other. They're these complementary opposites that together create a complete balanced whole. You just can't have one without the other. So this brings us to the central thesis, the big leap. The author proposes that if this law of opposites applies to literally everything else in the cosmos, then why wouldn't it apply to us? That for every single person, there must be a metaphysical opposite, an anti-person, or a little more poetically, your other half. Well, this naturally leads to a huge and very personal question. If this other half of mine is real, where in the universe are they? And the answer, at least according to this theory, is actually found inside of you. Yes, exactly. Since your fates are entangled, just like those particles, your internal world, your emotions, your thoughts, your entire state of being, is actually a direct clue. It's like a homing beacon that's pointing to their location across all these different planes of existence. And this is where the idea gets really wild and specific. The author suggests that whatever your dominant emotional state is, it literally places your other half in one of 20 parallel worlds. So if you're feeling full of joy and freedom, they're living it up in a heavenly realm. But if you're trapped in anger and depression, well, they're stuck in a hellish one. Your inner world is directly shaping their outer world. But why is this so important? I mean, why does this search matter? This isn't just about finding a soulmate or having a cosmic romance. It's about something much more fundamental, taking control of your own destiny. According to the author, as long as you two are separate, you're incomplete. Your life is just a passive reaction to what's happening to your distant twin. You're like a kite, and the string is being held by someone in another dimension whose own ups and downs are yanking you around. The real quest is to become whole, to finally achieve self-mastery and break that cycle for good. So what happens when you finally do it, when you meet this cosmic twin? The answer is definitely not what you'd expect from a fairy tale. It is way more dramatic and, in a way, much more beautiful. Now, the author uses the scientific term annihilation. In physics, that's what happens when a particle and its antiparticle collide and convert into pure energy. It sounds destructive, right? But here, it's completely reframed. It's not destruction, it's the ultimate completion of the soul. It's an elevation, like becoming a Buddha or an immortal. So the key thing to grasp here is that while your material self, your body, disappears, your true essence, your consciousness, it doesn't die, it transforms. The two halves merge into one and ascend to a higher plane of existence, reaching what the author calls the pure land of ultimate bliss, a state of perfect, absolute wholeness. This all sounds absolutely incredible, but it does leave us with one final, giant cosmic puzzle that we have to solve. If this meeting is so crucial, how in the world do you make it happen? And here is the unbelievably frustrating paradox at the heart of it all. Your other half is your perfect opposite. So when you move forward, they move back. When you turn left, they turn right. The harder you chase after them, the farther away they get. A direct, forceful search is completely, utterly futile. But the author says there's a shortcut, a kind of cosmic hack that lets you break this pattern. And the key is to stop chasing. The solution is to achieve a state of total inner stillness and emptiness, what's called the eight nothings realm. When you reach that state of just being, you're no longer pushing them away. Instead, you finally draw them to you. And this is what it all boils down to. This is the final, really provocative takeaway from this whole idea. The entire external journey, this epic search across dimensions to find another person, it turns out it was a metaphor for an internal journey all along. The other half is a missing part of yourself. The real quest isn't about finding another person, but about uniting the yin and the yang within your own soul. And only then, only when you are finally whole within yourself, can you truly unite with the universe.